Story 1, my cat. He's a massive hassle and, quite frankly, not very bright. He's walked straight into doors multiple times and has an intense fear of mugs. But I would be willing to fight God for him. Story 2. I mean, if my death will bring actual benefits to humanity, sure, I'll sacrifice myself. Not dying for pizza, though, unlike that other person who commented, laughing out loud. Story 3. The hat I got from my father. If anyone takes my hat from me, even if they have a gun, I am going to try with every last ounce of my being I have at that moment to get it back. Story 4. It is the dumb part of this that makes the question difficult. I guess I would assume a certain level of risk to save an animal. I once saved a snapping turtle on a busy street. Does that count? I'm pretty nimble. Laughing out loud. Story 5. When I was really young, I thought I might want to be a scientist. My grandmother didn't really understand what scientists do and gave me a stethoscope. Some clinical scientists use stethoscopes, but for the most part, they are not really useful. I pretended to like it, and the stethoscope sat in my closet for years. I'm graduating from medical school now and have used the same stethoscope across all these years. It's my good luck charm. Story 6. One more night with my man. Rolling around in bed, giggling and teasing each other, getting stoned together, talking about our childhoods, our separate kids, our dreams. He's not dead, just works out of town. Every night with him is the best night ever. Story 7. I would probably say something like a deep, intense debate over which fast food chain has the best fries. It's totally ridiculous. But in the heat of the moment, you would be surprised how passionate people get about something so trivial. That said, I would much rather just live to debate another day. Story 8. I would probably die for the cause of proving that the last piece of pizza in the box is rightfully mine, especially if it is from my favorite pizza place. Yes, I know it is silly, but everyone knows that last slice has a special kind of power and satisfaction. Story 9. My books. I understand they could technically be replaced, but at extreme cost and time. I have over 1,000 hand-picked ones, which I'm rather fond of. I am currently on a Joan of Arc kick and buying up and translating a lot of French works, which are prior or just after her canonization. I usually read about alchemy, the occult, paranormal, cryptozoology, and folklore, though. Story 10. Moving the start of the year on the calendar to coincide with the solstice. The Gregorians got everything else right and fixed many things, but somehow left this glaring hole. Story 11. For every human to try 2 or more grams of mushrooms at least once. I think the world would be a better place if everyone could experience the emotions I feel on mushrooms. Story 12. I'm already willing to die for anything right now. If I could have a button that ensures all streams of consciousness cease on the spot with no pain or risks, I would press it right away. Story 13. The people on the elevator exit first. That means before the losers waiting for the elevator enter. Always. Every time. No exceptions. If I am riding an elevator and you try to get on before letting me off, I will make it awkward for everyone involved, and I will have literally no shame. Is negative shame possible? I will have negative shame for making you feel awkward trying to block me from getting off the elevator. Story 14. There is this girl, a friend of mine. She is probably the most amazing and least fortunate being I have come across. She is kind, funny, honest, and responsible. Everything you would want from a good human being except maybe patient and predictable. But she keeps finding herself on the receiving end of random problems. She falls and hits her head on things despite being short. She is just unlucky to the point it's hilarious. And yet she never ceases to be an amazing person. Yeah, I would die on the spot if it meant she would get the luck of an average person for the rest of her life. Story 15. Some old-fashioned great-grandmother made chocolate cake. The kind that the baby boomers' parents took to the grave with them. They don't make cakes like that anymore in life. Story 16. Now would be a really tragic time to die. We may well be looking at technology to give us significant lifetime extensions in the next few years. Story 17. Rest, relaxation, and not having to wake up every morning because I need a roof over my head and food in my stomach. To be honest, I'm really close to getting a storage room near a motel. Story 18. Does dying of old age comfortably after achieving a dream count? I don't really want to die for anything else, since when I'm dead, and even if I save a life by dying, I won't be around to care. Story 19. I love my children, 6 and 3, but honestly, one of them still soils their pants and doesn't know what 2 plus 2 is. They also think Santa is real. Pretty silly if you ask me. Story 20. I die for the remote when it's sitting 10 feet away just out of reach. Sure, it's ridiculous, but that final stretch is a test of wills, like conquering Everest. And at the summit, unbridled freedom of channel surfing. Story 21. I have 3 memorial bracelets that I wear every single day and never take off. Each one symbolizes the passing of a friend in the Marine Corps. Sergeant Joseph Delgado, Corporal Matthew Harris, and Lance Corporal Joseph Sawadi Bearclaw Yuyutsu. They're always on, always. I'd probably cause trouble for someone if they tried to steal them off my wrists. I know I can order new ones, but I've had them for years now. They have a lot of sentimental significance to me. Story 22. One of my cats. She is an idiot. Falls off things. Generally the clumsiest cat I have seen in my life. We took her to a veterinarian. They said she is fine after several tests and scans. She is just dumb. I love her so much. Story 23. Pain relief. I should just be able to go to my doctor and get the medications I need, but the war on drugs has affected people with chronic pain. My only hope for some relief is sourcing painkillers from the street, which is highly dangerous. But I've been seriously contemplating it because I'm tired of being tortured by my body 24/7. Story 24. If I'm sitting waiting with my turn signal on and the guy backs out the wrong way, and another car clearly sees I am waiting but still takes the spot, the driver is getting a punch in the face before they can even step out. I don't even think I could stop myself from doing it. Story 25. My dog. I will beat anyone who tries to harm him, disrespect him, or even think something bad about him. This dog saves me daily. Black English block-headed man. Love him to bits. Story 26. I have been in a wheelchair off and on since age 9, permanently after a fruitless double hip replacement at 12. I really miss rollerblading, not walking through tall grass or frolicking in a field. Rollerblading. I'd love to be able to rollerblade for an hour again. It was the only outdoor activity that I liked doing and can't do anymore. Story 27. Probably to connect with the girl I had a crush on from first grade until the end of high school. Decades later, I still think of her sometimes. I haven't seen her in about 30 years. Of course, we're both old, and she probably looks as bad as I do now, so it likely wouldn't be worth it. Story 28. A dog. I would take on all the world's military for one dog. Could be the ugliest, the fattest, the most dangerous. I am fighting to the death for it and will come back if anyone harms it. Story 29. My possessions. Unless I am totally outmatched, I will fight tooth and nail to keep my possessions that I earned. I've got to make the would-be robbers work for it too. Story 30. A crush that hasn't talked to me for over a year. So strange, I guess she's done with me but has always seemed to care. I'm married, and I guess that's why she doesn't talk to me. But if I were single, she gave every indication that she was interested. Obviously, I would do anything for my son, but I don't think that's a dumb thing to die for. I'm saying I'd die for her, but I won't call her. I sometimes send a casual text, but nothing more. She doesn't reply, but I feel like she reads them and has similar feelings but doesn't want to ruin a family. I'm dumb. She ghosted me and forgot about me months ago. If anyone reads this, please tell me how dumb I am or anything else. Story 31. If it would start an actual movement by removing another insurance chief executive officer and meeting the police, America needs universal single-payer healthcare, and I would do some serious dumb and deadly things if it moved that needle. Story 32. To change my country back to a functioning democracy without corruption, without Trump and his cabinet of incompetence, and for peace and love in the world. Story 33. My dog. She's not dumb. She's actually pretty smart. It would be foolish to die for her because I am her emotional support human, and she would suffer if I did. Story 34. Not necessarily dumb, but definitely unpopular. Unfortunately, it's probably never going to happen, at least not anytime soon. But I really wish Disney and animation studios would make movies like Atlantis, The Lost Empire, Treasure Planet, and Titan AE. Again, it truly is a crime that they stop traditional and 2D animation. They're absolutely beautiful movies. Story 35. There is exactly one person I would willingly give my life for if it came down to his life versus mine. Unfortunately, our feelings for one another are asymmetrical, and so he isn't really in my life anymore. I told him it's probably best for now that we maintain some space. Still, if it ever somehow came down to his life or mine, I'd choose his. He is the only person I feel that way about because I do not have kids. If I had kids, it would be them too. Story 36. My motorcycle. Let me die, just don't let the bike get hurt. I have already told my loved ones to put my ashes in the frame, so I have to keep my urn in good shape. Story 37. A jar of Nutella. I had quit a job I was going nowhere in, applying and interviewing like crazy while supporting my then-girlfriend while she was getting through college. I had burned through most of my savings. I was throwing parties every weekend so I could take the empty beer bottles that friends left at home to the grocery store. There are refundable fees where I live, and buy food with the little amount I would get. I would barely eat breakfast, then feign interest in dinner so my girlfriend could eat and succeed at school. One night, we went to the restaurant with my parents and one of their friends, who thought I had lost some weight. My dad slipped me some money before leaving, and when I called later that week to borrow some more money for rent, he asked me if I was okay. I told him that things were tight, but that we managed. He told me, "I don't want you to sell your guitar." I didn't answer. Parents called back a few days later, saying that they would stop by since they would be in town. I was in for a surprise. When I got to the door, my mom was standing there with a box filled with groceries. "Go help your dad," she said. "There's more." They had brought us 3 big boxes full of food, including homemade meals. While we were unpacking and putting stuff away, my mom took out a jar of Nutella from one of the boxes. "Sometimes all you need is a little bit more than the bare minimum," she said. My eyes were wet. Dad made me promise to never put my health in danger by being proud. Story 38. To move out of the state and travel the world with my childhood buddy. I'm willing to throw away my job, sell my car, leave everything to just travel and hike. I know it sounds stupid, but it also sounds really fun. Story 39. Not me, but there's a guy over on Reddit who is really upset about using some company-provided form to collect his social security number or employer identification number for their records. Do you have to use a company's substitute W-9? Story 40. I'm too scared to die. Otherwise, I would have ended my life already. However, I think preventing or ending all life would be an acceptable reason to be involved in that. If a bomb destroys Earth and kills every being, but some bacteria evolve to become new species on the floating rocks in space, none of it was worth it. I don't even want that, but if all life can cease, I am okay with that. Story 41. A woman I met through work, actually my boss at the time, is one of the most caring and compassionate people I have ever met. Through work, we grew a great friendship, and to this day, though she is not my boss anymore, she is my best friend. Growing up, I have adored the game, The Legend of Zelda, Majora's Mask. It was my favorite game growing up. I have always wanted it on the Nintendo 64, but being a kid, I only ever owned a PlayStation and played Nintendo consoles at my family friend's house. Well, fast forward, and that particular girl and I are chatting about my ongoing mental health issues. I was not in a very good place. She was always a great supporter of mine and would often encourage me to continue through my issues. One day, out of nowhere, she comes up to me and hands me something. It was a game. It was Majora's Mask for the Nintendo 64. She knew I loved that game, and she actually loved it too. She herself has a tattoo of Majora and loves everything and anything Zelda. She gave me her childhood copy. It was a sign of the relationship we had built, and it was to show me how much I meant to her, and that if I went anywhere, she would never be the same. I recently got a Nintendo 64 to play it, and it is one of, if not my most prized possession. I keep her beaten file on it and never plan on deleting it. It means the world to me. Story 42. I came in here to climb a soapbox about the way hot dog buns are supposed to be cut, and saw you guys being all serious about family and stuff. so I think I'll just see myself out. Story 43. There's a monument to the McDonald's Quarter Pounder in South Dakota that I would absolutely die to reclaim during a foreign invasion. Ramirez from Modern Warfare 2 would not be able to compete with my desire to defend the cheeseburger. Story 44. A woman who I am pretty sure went from loving me endlessly to despising me for only God knows what reason. It sucks when you find your person and you would literally do anything for them, but they do not feel the same anymore. Love is a crazy thing. Anyway, yes, a woman. Or my kids. For beautiful souls. But that does not feel dumb. Story 45. People would think I'd be dumb for this, but my stuffed animals from my childhood. If I had the choice between marrying the best girl for me imaginable and keeping my stuffed animals for life, I am taking the latter option 100 times out of 100.